Hey everyone, if you've ever felt that sick, secret pull towards someone who should be completely untouchable, the kind that wraps around your heart like a chain you can't break no matter how much you fight, then smash that like button right now and subscribe because I'm about to confess the one thing that's destroying my life from the inside out. This isn't some made-up story. This is my truth, raw and bleeding. The kind that leaves me rambling as I type these words to you alone. It started with one simple compliment. Last month at my Condemnily-S anniversary party, Unchained melody playing low in the background, the melody slow and haunting as it filled the space between us. I looked at her and said, "Emily, you really light up every room you walk into." That was it, for words. Her eyes locked on mine, something flickered, a spark that ignited something deep and dangerous, and in that second I felt the first dangerous spark of desire for the woman I should never want my best friend's wife. I can still feel the way my stomach dropped in that instant, the room seeming to tilt just a little as the forbidden thought took root, my mind screaming at me to stop even as my heart raced ahead. Mike was right there, his arm around her, and I forced a laugh, clinking glasses like the good friend I was supposed to be, but the shame was already settling in, hot and heavy. Like a storm cloud I prayed would pass. After that night, life snapped back to normal. Mike and I still hit the gym together, pushing through the same routines, the sweat and high fives masking any hint of what was stirring inside me. We still double-dated with whatever woman I was seeing at the time, the conversations flowing as they always had, the four of us lost in the easy flow of friendship. And Emily was always there, warm, funny, part of the group we'd been since college. Dinners, game nights, the same familiar rhythm we'd followed for 15 years, the laughter and stories weaving us together like they always did. Nothing changed on the surface. The goodbyes were the same, the plans for next time made with the same enthusiasm, everything appearing exactly as it had for so long. But in the stillness after those gatherings, when I was alone with my thoughts, the memory of that compliment would creep back in, filling me with a craving I hated myself for. The internal war raging between loyalty to my best friend and this new, terrifying pull that made me question everything. I'd lie awake, breath shallow, whispering to the dark that I could control it, that nothing had really changed. But deep down I knew the spark was there, waiting, ready to turn our ordinary world upside down if I let it. Except now I couldn't stop noticing her in ways that made everything feel electric and wrong. Every gathering became this loop of tiny, tortuous exposures that left me reeling afterward, alone in my car with the guilt gnawing deeper. The way her vanilla and sandalwood perfume would drift past me when she reached for a glass at the dinner table, that warm, sweet haze brushing my skin like an accidental caress, making my throat go dry and my thoughts scatter in a panic I hid behind a smile. The brush of her fingers when she handed me a plate during game night. It was nothing, just a second of contact, and soft, but it lingered on my skin long after, sending a shiver I had to disguise by shifting in my seat, wondering if she felt it too or if I was imagining the electricity. Her soft laugh, the one that came easy when the conversation flowed, hit me low in the stomach every time, twisting something hungry and ashamed inside, forcing me to look away quick before my eyes betrayed the war raging in my head. I'd catch myself staring and think, "Chess Mike's. Stop. This is sick. You're his best friend from way back. How can you even let this thought cross your mind?" But the notices kept coming. These micro-exposures stacking like kindling for a fire-ice war I'd never let ignite, the internal battle leaving me breathless and exhausted by the end of every night. The loops tightened without me even planning it. We started texting about the stupidest stuff, work stress she vented in messages that felt too close, playlists she sent with a simple note that made my chest tighten, inside jokes that now carried a weight I pretended was there. Each ping made my heart jump, a secret rush I buried fast under layers of self-loathing. I found excuses to swing by their house after work, casual drops like Mike mentioned this, but really chasing those moments. In leggings and an old t-shirt, hair still damp from the shower, a few strands clinging to her neck, the casual warmth of her presence burning the image into my brain for days, replaying and Biden when I least expected. Each innocent moment fed the obsession until she was the first think louding my thoughts when I woke, a mix of craving and shame pulling at me, and the last before sleep, when I'd lie there in the dark fighting the ache that grew no matter how hard I pushed it away. Then Mike got sent on a 2-week business trip, the news hitting like an unexpected shift in the air. The house would be quieter without him around. I told myself nothing to it. It was 11 p.m. When my phone rang, her name flashing, voice shaky on the other end. Hey. A pipe burst in the basement and waters everywhere. I didn't want to call a stranger in the middle of the night. The storm was howling outside, rain slamming against everything, mirroring the turmoil I felt as I grabbed my toolbox. I drove over telling myself it was just helping a friend's wife. That was the lie I clung to tight, even as my hands gripped the wheel harder than necessary. Pulling into the driveway with lights cutting through the downpour, I saw her silhouette in the doorway, looking small and relieved, and something inside twisted with a pull I knew was dangerous. This was the moment the lines started to blur, and I was already too far gone to turn back. Down in that half-dark basement, with water still pooling at our feet and boxes crowding every corner like silent witnesses. Her vanilla sandalwood perfume thickened the damp air until it felt almost too intimate to breathe. We worked shoulder to shoulder, arms brushing with each heavy lift, the accidental warmth of her skin through thin cotton sending tiny shocks I tried to swallow down. She paused mid-reach, breath catching, and turned those eyes on me in the flickering light. That compliment you gave me. At the party, she whispered, voice so low it barely rose above the rain hammering the walls. I keep hearing it. Like it cracked something open I wasn't ready for. My fingers found hers before reason could stop them, the simple press of palm to palm electric in the cramped space. The distance between us shrank to nothing, her chest rising fast against mine, warm and unsteady, and then the almost became everything. She was against the wall. My hand gently framing her face, and our lips met in a kiss that tasted of years of hidden hunger, desperate and consuming like to people starving for what they knew they shouldn't crave. The line we'd pretended still existed simply vanished. There was no coming back. That kiss refused to stay locked in the basement. It pulled us upstairs through the quiet house, the gravity between us too strong to fight, until we found ourselves in the guest room where everything finally broke open. We surrendered completely, lost in a closeness so overwhelming it drowned out every warning in my head, the shared heat and trembling connection cresting in a shattering wave that left us both breathless and clinging like the world might end if we let go. Her name slipped from me in a broken whisper, mine from her like a plea, the kind of release that erases every promise you ever made to yourself or anyone else. Afterward, in the heavy silence, she curled against my chest, quiet tears sliding warm across my skin. This can never happen again, she breathed, voice cracking with the weight of what we'd just done. But her fingers stayed laced tight with mine, unwilling to break the contact. We both knew the words were hollow. The first payoff had already sealed us in. It was too late. And still it happened again. And again, stolen afternoons when she was supposed to be running errands but instead slipped away to meet me, the craving sharper each time we gave in. Late-night visits while Mike remained away on his trip, quick desperate meetings in my car in empty parking lots where the confined dark made every shared breath feel magnified, windows fogging with the evidence of our hidden world. Each time the high climbed higher, more addictive, the way she looked at me afterward like I was the only man who truly saw the woman beneath the everyday smile she wore for the world. Those secret texts that made my phone vibrate against my thigh like a private heartbeat calling me back no matter how hard I fought. Being wanted so badly by the one woman I had no right to touch. It flooded me like an emotional drug I couldn't quit, even as the shame clawed deeper with every surrender. But the internal war was sharpening too, the guilt twisting tighter after each stolen moment, whispering that this fire we'd lit would eventually burn everything down around us, and still I reached for her again the moment her name lit up my screen. The guilt didn't wait for permission to start poisoning everything it touched. It slipped in quiet at first, then roared louder with every passing day until I could barely function under its weight. Mike's texts kept landing like unexpected blows. Miss you bro, tell em I love her. And each one would hit my phone while the memory of her warmth was still fresh enough to make my hands shake. I'd force a reply, keeping it light, but inside my stomach would clench so hard the air in my lungs felt trapped, a reminder that I was the one twisting the knife in our friendship. Nights were the worst when the house fell silent and there was nothing left to distract me from the truth. I'd lie flat on my back, eyes fixed on the ceiling as if it held answers, and the words would slip out in a hoarse whisper. You're destroying him, the friend who's been family to you for 15 years. You're tearing down the marriage you watched them build from the ground up. This makes you a monster, plain and simple. The confession to myself left an ache that settled deep in my bones, cold and unrelenting, making sleep impossible and every mirror a judgment I couldn't face. Still, the pull refused to loosen its grip. The moment her perfume would ghost through my thoughts or the sound of her voice would replay uninvited, the guilt would fade into the background like distant thunder. My mind would fracture right down the middle, one voice screaming that this had to end before it destroyed us all, the other too weak to resist the gravity dragging me back toward her. I hated how easily I surrendered, how the shame only made the next reach feel more desperate, more necessary. Then yesterday arrived like the final crack in a dam already straining. Mike Strip wrapped up early, his car appearing in my driveway without any warning while I was still lost in the haze of our last encounter. He climbed out and walked toward me with that familiar stride, but this time his hand was extended, holding the small silver earring she'd left behind in the passenger's seat during one of our hurried goodbyes. The metal caught the light as he stopped a few feet away, close enough that I could see the uncertainty flickering in his eyes, his breath visible in the cool air between us. His voice broke the quiet afternoon, cracking with a vulnerability that mirrored the storm inside me. "Found this. In your car. Is there something you need to tell me?" The words landed heavy, the space between us shrinking and expanding all at once, and I felt the endless loop of secrecy snap shut around us both, leaving no room for any more almost-s or excuses. Here I am now, balanced on the edge with tomorrow looming like a cliff I can't avoid. I'll sit him down and let the truth spill out, every detail, no matter how much it costs. No more pretending, no more hiding behind the lies that have kept this fire alive. But even as I commit to that path, the unresolved longing for her lingers like smoke after the blaze, a bittersweet take that whispers, what if we'd never crossed that line? What if one compliment hadn't changed the course of everything? The acceptance settles in heavy, knowing some desires leave scars that time won't fully heal, haunting the quiet spaces where friendship used to live. Yet part of me wonders if the pull will always be there, a silent gravity testing my resolve even after the confession. You tell me your answer after everything I just confessed. If you were me, would you really confess and burn it all down? Or would you keep the secret and keep her? Drop it in the comments. Like if this wrecked you, subscribe so you don't miss what happens when I finally say the words out loud. I need to know I'm not alone in this.